You are listening to Mercury Theater Podcast. Today, we are presenting the promo for the upcoming episode, publishing December 28th, as well as my interview with Paige Alena. Oh, and there's even a giveaway announcement at the end of this show. So don't turn that dial.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain again. The time is 5:48 p.m. at our destination, Denver International.
Does that man have a gun and a sword?
I bet it's a World War II thing. Really weird for an airport to have these wall pictures.
Ah, I see you found my favorite spot of the airport.
Your favorite? This?
They're not real. It's a conspiracy theory. One of many. We're not supposed to be in here. You're definitely not supposed to be in here. You weren't taken aback as hoped.
I'm a chemical engineer.
So, I present to you the ruins of a post-apocalyptic world.
Where did you just fly in from?
Oh, I'm not traveling. I work here. In the underground tunnels.
Oh, conspiracy theory stuff.
Originally built supposedly for a totally automated baggage claim, $2 billion over budget.
Whoa!
No kidding.
Welcome, Amber. Please, take a seat. Can we get you some water?
Thanks for joining us. I'm John Badger, and I'm here with...
Paige Alena.
So we just got finished wrapping up with the episode DEN.
It is DEN, it's not just Den.
So it's Dent as in Denver International Airport?
I'll be honest, it took me a minute to figure that out when I read this script, that's the airport code. I thought it was like a cool acronym for something that I would learn later. No.
I had a lot of fun. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think the most fun was that, so when I first read this script, honestly, I didn't know these conspiracies associated with the Denver airport. So that was another thing, too, that I read DEN, and I was like, okay, I'll figure out what that means later. I didn't know what I was reading when I first read it, and I Googled it later. I was like, oh, wait, they're at the Denver airport. And then all these articles came up that were like, yeah, the conspiracies about the Denver airport. And I was, of course. I was worried that you just were taking like a ton of conspiracy theories and were like, it's time to air these out. Like, there was a second where I was like, oh no, is he just really into conspiracy theories?
So me personally, I'm not into conspiracy theories as we talked about, but yeah, this airport, like, there's no comparison, I feel, to conspiracy theories as opposed to this one.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to write about, but I really didn't want to talk to you necessarily about this episode. I wanted to talk to you more about what you do, what it is that you want to be, and everything. So tell me what it is about Paige Alena and her acting history.
Oh, okay. That's really exciting. Well, it all started. I was 3 years old, and so I've been doing acting just from like a community level since I was like 3 years old. It was really just because my parents had to put me in some kind of aftercare thing while they were at work. So they were like, theater will do. The first ever production.
As a 3-year-old.
Yes. As preschool. Because it's just like they'll community theaters will just like do little preschool things where they just, they teach us a little 10-minute play and you just kind of get up on stage. Don't really do much of anything. And the first thing we did, it was Winnie the Pooh. And I was Winnie the Pooh. And then, it just stuck. It just, the theater bug bit me from there. And then I was doing mostly like stage, like musical theater, going through like middle school and high school, doing all those musical theater summer camps that theater kids talk about. And then I wanted to study acting in college. So I went to Marymount Manhattan College and I got my acting degree there. And then the world ended. And then I graduated.
2020.
Yeah. And I had all, I was in New York. I was like just about to graduate with an acting degree. I had all these plans. I was like going to stay in New York, going to pursue like stage acting as a primary thing. I was interested in voice acting, but I didn't really know how much I wanted it to be a part of my career. And then the world ended. And I spent the last couple months of my like college career just taking courses online. And it is very hard to do a scene with someone over Zoom. I'll just tell you that right now. It's impossible to do like physically acting a scene that we've staged for like a classroom, and then we just have to look at each other over these webcams, and there's lag and you can't hear each other. School year ended not with a bang but with a whimper, I will say.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it was kind of disappointing that it ended like that, but I think also, I feel like I would have been more of an emotional wreck, you know, like, it was funny having an ending that was so anticlimactic to 4 years of what had been a really big part of my life so far. And so it's kind of interesting. It feels like I almost didn't graduate.
Yeah.
Because we had a graduation ceremony, but I didn't go to it because it was just, they were just reading our names. And there was no walking, there was no speeches. It was just kind of, we'll just read your names over Zoom.
No passing of the diploma or anything. It's just...
Yeah, exactly. It took months to get my diploma, and then it was just mailed to my mom. And she's like, do you want this? You can hang it up somewhere. And I'm... Where? I don't know where I would hang it up.
That's so unfortunate.
My acting degree, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually having this conversation with Matt, and after having done the last episode, and he was talking about having going to school, and I'm like, man, you're just missing out on so much of the college experience. And here I am, having been able to go to a college and being in a dorm and living that whole lifestyle, and then being able to graduate and like walking down the aisle, as it were.
Yeah.
And it's just that whole experience. But for a lot of people, they're still going to college, but they're not. They're going online, and they're just signing off after they're done with their...
Yeah,
their
I
day.
was really lucky that it was just, you know, the tail end of my college career, because I have one of the roommates I'm living with is currently in his junior year, and I just feel so bad. But every time I see him struggle with, you know, getting onto an online class, having to do these essays while we're in the middle of just some once in a lifetime events, and I just think, oh, thank God that's not me anymore. Oh, thank God it's not me anymore. And I think every college student that is doing that right now in this time is unbelievably, but like so stronger than I was certainly in my last as a second semester senior online. But boy, am I glad it's not me anymore.
So you graduated, and have you done anything since with your acting?
Yes. Well, so as soon as I graduated, I started trying to pursue voice acting, because I was always kind of interested in it before. I love voice acting. I think it's really fun to be able to explore characters in this way. It's such a different experience than stage acting.
Do you have any voice acting idols that somebody that you appreciate?
I mean, just there are so many. What's really fun about voice acting is that I feel like there are so many like women too who are just complete like pioneers of this industry, like Tara Strong. I can't remember her name right now, but Debbie. This sucks that I can't remember her name, but there's Tara Strong especially. There's just a lot of women who have been...
What did she play?
She did a lot of like Nickelodeon voices. She did, I mean, just tons of like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon. I think her biggest one is that she was in Rugrats. She's Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
There's the movie or the documentary, I Know That Voice.
I watched that recently. Yeah.
That is a fantastic documentary.
It's so
good.
I
like watching that whole thing. Yeah, there's a bunch of people. And then you don't realize that people like Mark Hamill, like the Luke Skywalker.
Joker.
Yeah. He has so many different roles that you have no idea of. And then you watch this documentary and then you're like, man, I have to do some research. And then you realize this guy is so much more than just Luke Skywalker getting his hand chopped off by a lightsaber. And I thought that he had completely disappeared from the world. And all this time, I've been listening to him on the Batman.
Yeah.
The animated series. Where was I?
Yeah, you gotta follow him on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter.
I am, and I've been following you on Twitter as well. But...
Yay. Another follower.
Yes. Maybe we'll get some more. He's a lot of fun on Twitter as well. He's extremely political, and that's something that, while I agree with him, he's still it's like 90% politics.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm so supportive of that though, because I remember when one of the last classes that we took as seniors in this acting degree was business of acting, where it was people who were trying to explain to us how to enter the industry when the industry had just gone a complete flipped on its head. So we were talking to a lot of professionals who they would be like, well, here's how I did it, but you can't really do that anymore. And we're like, well, what should we do then? They're, I don't know, cross your fingers. But there was one guy we talked to who was talking about social media presence. And he talked about how you you shouldn't be too political. They were like, you don't want to alienate anyone on either side. And all of us in class were just thinking, no way. That's ridiculous. There's absolutely no way. This guy's trying to teach us to keep our opinions to ourselves.
I listened to a podcast just this morning, and there's a guy who's getting some familiarity with Nickelodeon. He's like, yeah, there's a producer that we have who does all of this political stuff, but the podcaster refuses to do any of that because he knows that there's all of this stuff that, if he's trying to make it big, he certainly can't cut his chances by being political.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Paige, in all of your acting history, have you acquired any special skills, or have you used any special skills to make that acting even more present?
Yeah, one of the special skills that I started working on, it was just 3 years ago, is I started teaching myself how to play the ukulele, which just learning any instrument is oddly valuable because for some reason it's multiple times where I've been able to say, oh yeah, I can play the ukulele, I can sing a little bit. And someone will be, oh, that's fantastic. I'll find something for you. I'll find some way to use it. Another one that I've used more often than I thought I would is that I took a mere 4 years of French in high school, and I managed to get enough of it stuck, and I managed to keep enough of a decent accent that I've been able to use a little bits of French here and there, which is really fun that's a fun one to pull out because the thing is, I can barely read it. I really can only speak it conversationally, but I'm really good at just pronouncing things. So if there's a line in a script that's in French, I may not exactly know what it says, but I can pronounce it in a way that sounds not too bad. I mean, I'm sure a natural French speaker would be able to pick it out, but
that came in handy when it came to working on my promo.
Yes, I know. I was glad I was able to use that. But then, again, I try to put, I'll put the accents that I've worked on a resume, and it'll be on one of those sites that does those automatic, fill in, you can, drop down menu. And I'll do, oh yeah, I can do a little bit of a French accent. And they're like, oh, Paris or Quebec? And I can't do a French accent. I don't know. There's a distinction there. But then sometimes it'll say standard French and then Parisian and then Quebecanois or however you pronounce that. And I should probably just figure out which one I sound more like and then say I can do that. But that's how they get me. I don't. Or it'll be like, yeah, I can do a southern accent. And they're like, oh, okay, what region? I go, oh, never mind. Fake? The fake region? I don't.
American France?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. An American person doing a French accent? I don't know.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. And perfect.
So you can sing while you're playing the ukulele, yes. Or sing in French to the ukulele.
Sing in French. I think I've managed to play La Vie en Rose on the ukulele. I don't know if there's a lot.
That is one of the best songs of all time.
Oh yeah. Edith. Yeah.
I don't understand the lyrics to it, but I can really appreciate the sound to it.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Honestly, there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where La Vie en Rose.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about with Kristen Milotti, who I'm in love with. I love Kristen Milotti.
Oh my god. Shouldn't he have landed up with, like, Victoria? Victoria was the one.
I mean, I love them. I think they did. I think they did Kristen Milotti dirty. I think they did that whole storyline dirty. But no matter what, he should not have been with Robin. And I'll die on that hill. No. Yeah. I think I think everyone who is a fan of the show at some point agrees that was a garbage finale.
That's the wrong ending to that story.
It's the wrong ending.
I would much prefer it. Yeah, I'd much prefer it if it was Kristen Milotti.
Yes. Yeah.
But Victoria was she was the one who I was like, that should have been the winner. Yeah. But she made some bad decisions. Oh, we can die on other hills.
Yeah.
So going on from here, where is it that you're intending to go with your acting career? Or are you planning on continuing to pursue acting?
Yeah, I am planning on that. I think my biggest focus is going to be voice acting for right now, just because, we don't know where the industry is going to be, how long it's going to take for the industry to kind of jumpstart.
Get back into
yeah, exactly. So I think my big focus is going to be voice acting for now. I really want to get into comedy. So I told myself, I made, this is so sad, but I made like a goals for 2020 a list before the new year.
2020 is a gimme. I'll be 29 next year.
Right? Yeah, I know. I had all these, I wrote down this plan, and one of them was that I was going to make myself try stand up at an open mic, because I've been really interested in stand up, but it's never something that I've done before. So it's something that it's kind of have some trepidations about, but I told myself I would try it, and then obviously everything closed down. So I'm hoping that within the next year I'll be able to try making comedy a bigger part of my acting career.
They say that any good comedian has completely failed that first time that they went on stage.
I know, and I'm so afraid. I was looking up when I was in New York, and I was planning on finding an open mic in New York. I was specifically looking up places that catered to women, because there are a lot of open mics that are strongly female spaces, and I thought that I would want to go to one of those first before I go to one of the open mics where it's just going to be a bunch of guys, drunk guys, sit in the back heckling me the second I get on stage, just to sort of warm up to it. So that's part of my goal for my acting career in the future, is that I just need to force myself, gonna get a huge group of friends to just dominate the bar area and have them laugh way too loud at all of my jokes.
Even if you're not funny, at least there's some laughter.
Exactly. They'll be there. So I'll be able to keep going at the very least, and then I can reassess later whatever my material is.
I went to an open mic comedy place, and I did one thing. I wrote it on the spot. I'm outside the door waiting on the doors to open, and I'm writing it, and then I'm okay, this is gonna be gold. And maybe that wasn't the route that I should have taken, because I definitely got up there and then everybody hated it. Not just most people, just everybody. Everybody hated it.
Oh, no.
It was terrible.
Yeah, because I'll try to write down ideas I have for bits, but then if I write it down, I feel like it's too rehearsed. But then at the same time, I do not like doing improv. So I'm really stuck there.
It's really unfortunate that we lost Robin Williams, but he was a genius when it came to comedy. Really, and he would go on stage and he would improv literally everything that he ever did, and he had nothing rehearsed. He would just go on the stage and then figure it out as he's going along.
Have you seen? Right, my professor showed us it was an interview with him, and he does this famous he does the pink scarf bit, which has become famous. I don't know if you've seen it. You got to look it up on YouTube. But there's a woman sitting in the audience, and she's just wearing a pink scarf. And he just the interviewer is like, why don't you just improv something for us? And so Robin, he gets up and he gets this woman's scarf, and he goes rapid fire through 30 characters, all just using this scarf. Just it is brilliant what he's able to do in just no time at all. he's incredibly talented. And he went to my high school when he was a high school student.
Oh, that's...
Which I think is like the only interesting person to come out of my high school. But yeah, so that's there's a picture of him like wearing our Letterman jacket standing like right in front of where my friends and I would all eat lunch in high school. So I think that's very fun. I'm a huge fan of Robin Williams.
There's a lot to be a fan of when it comes to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He was just in everything that you could possibly imagine as far as different genres in movies.
I know, yeah.
He had such a diversity. It was really weird when I'd see him in, like, there's a movie, it was like The Cutter or something. It was a really weird movie. And I'm like, that's really dark coming from Robin Williams. And then there was like 24-Hour Photo. That's the same guy who played Mrs.
Doubtfire?
That one.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the same guy who played Mrs. Doubtfire. It doesn't compute, but it's because he had such a diversity when it comes to his acting skills.
I know, yeah, he's absolutely brilliant.
You play the ukulele. Mm-hmm. You know how to speak French, or you can at least... But do you have any other skills that would come in handy when it comes to acting or voice acting?
Yes, this is one I acquired recently. My senior year, I was fortunate enough to be able to take a puppetry class. It fulfilled a requirement, but it was very exciting. It was I loved the professor, and we built and we learned how to manipulate puppets. And I know you're not going to believe me, but it is so much harder than you would think to move these puppets. What kind of puppets are we talking about? Are we talking marionettes, or are we talking about sock marionettes
puppets?
Are wildly complicated. So we did something called a rod puppet, which is essentially like a dowel, and it has a little foam ball on top of it, and then there's fabric over the dowel, so you're holding the wooden part and the fabric covers your hand, and then there's one other little stick that you use as the arm, and just like being able to manipulate those. Or
like the punchy characters.
So I think Punch and Judy are marionette or hand puppet. I can't quite remember, but it's similar to that. It's a very simple. You're like right there with the puppet manipulating it. And then another one we did was bunraku puppets, which are fascinating. It's a type of Japanese puppetry, and it's these really intricate puppets, and they have 3 people controlling them. There's one person on the legs, one person on, I believe it's the left arm, and then one person on the right and the head. And it is the art of this. It is so complicated and requires so much skill that when people enter this, if people want to be bunraku puppeteers, they start off working on the legs. They start off manipulating the legs of a puppet, and then they do that with a company for 10 years. And then after 10 years, they get to move to the left arm. And then they do that for another 10 years. And then once they've completed 20 years of training, they get to move to the head and the right arm. And it's incredible. And you'll watch these, or we watched because we were in this class, these interviews with these bunraku masters who talked about, they're like 85 years old, and they talk about, I would need like 3 more lifetimes to be as skilled as I want to be. It is the intricacies of moving these puppets, the like detail behind it. Every little movement is calculated. It is so impressive. So we did just a poor facsimile of that concept by making these giant like paper dolls essentially that we could manipulate, and we had, one person on the legs, one person on arm, one person on other arm. Those are the things we did. We got to visit the Jim Henson studio too, which was very cool. That was in New York.
He's a voice actor, right?
Jim Henson? Yeah, he voiced Kermit, right? I think that's who he voiced. I believe so, because that was his. It was crazy seeing, like, being able to go to the studio was incredibly fun, because it's all the people who are making these puppets, and they all just have an incredibly impressive resume. And we were told, we walked in and they said, all right, you can take a picture with Oscar the Grouch. you have to keep your phones away beyond that. There was one little, they had their little Oscar the Grouch puppet in the front, and they were like, that's your picture spot. Everywhere else, you are not allowed to take pictures. So it felt all very like top secret, and it's just these people like stuffing foam into an Elmo corpse, essentially. And it was like, all right.
That's too fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah, I like looking behind the scenes of how stuff is done. You were able to see that behind the scenes with Sesame Street, and I like watching like the behind the scenes when it comes to making movies with like Lord of the Rings and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of stuff that you don't hear as the listener of the podcast. You just get the final finished product, but you don't see how they make the sausage. So tell me, Paige, how would I get in contact with you if I wanted to?
Oh, well, you can check me out on Twitter or Instagram at It's Paige Alena. That's ITSPAIGELENA. You can also find me at paigealena.com, or you can find me as Paige Alena on YouTube, although I haven't uploaded a new video in a while. That's just more of a, if you really need me on every platform, you got that one too.
And paigealena.com.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you focus on with your website?
It's I really just have it as it's just kind of an actor portal. So I have, resume, headshots. I have whatever latest projects I've been working on there, so you can find whatever latest project I've been doing.
And then YouTube, what do you feature on YouTube?
YouTube. Well, I have some of my original ukulele songs on there. Again, I haven't written or uploaded one in a while, but there are some originals there. I have a couple covers. I started making gaming videos for a minute, so I have a little bit there. I should probably start doing that again, but it's hard in a house of 5 other people to not just annoy your roommates with a very loud YouTube video.
So what do you game?
I played dating sims, like indie dating sims. There was a gaming bundle that was released sometime over the summer that the money for it went to like Black Lives Matter relief funds and charities and bail funds and stuff like that. So I got it, and then it turned out there were a bunch of cool just like indie games on there. So I'll play those, add my own colorful commentary to it. I'm not a gamer at all. I just love watching Let's Plays on YouTube.
I'm sorry. What's a Let's Play?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's when people
am I just hiding under a rock?
They've been very popular for at least the past decade. It's when people just record themselves playing games. It's like Twitch, how people will live stream.
Okay, yeah.
It's like that, but not live streamed. So it's the same kind of thing. They're recording themselves playing a game. They're commenting on it. It's a YouTube video instead of a live stream.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it's called a Let's Play. Kind of like Roleplayer games. I didn't realize that there was a lot of Roleplayer games, and then I realized, after the fact, this would be considered an RP. Okay, that makes sense.
Dungeons and Dragons. Just played our house game last night.
Oh, yeah?
It's very fun. One of
how's that going?
Our warlock almost died in a gelatinous cube. It's okay. We got him out.
So you're playing that with your roommates?
Yes, I have a game going with my roommates, and then a game that we've been doing for over a year now with my college friends. It's coming to its end, but it's very hard to get everyone on this Zoom call at the same time. So I don't know when we're going to be able to get in that last session.
So I don't know if you listened to it, but how did the episode Roleplayers feel to you?
I haven't listened to it yet. But I will, because I know, I'm sorry. I've been too busy listening to my other D&D podcasts. I have to keep up.
Well, it's not like Critical Role in that it's the gameplay. It's the
narrative. But I love that. That was really exciting because that was one of the first things. That's the first thing I auditioned for. of yours. I auditioned for a role on the D&D one because I was like, I know what D&D is.
No, wasn't it? You were on Nikki.
I know, but I auditioned on Casting Call Club. I auditioned for the D&D one, and then you said no, but will you do this other one?
Huh.
So the first one I did was Nikki's sketch, but then the one I auditioned for was the D&D one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember the history for all of how I connected with the people, but it is really good. Paige Alena, it was a delight to have you today, and thank you for joining us.
And thank you so much for having me.
Listeners, if you would like to support the endeavors of Mercury Theater Podcast and would like more made in the future, please consider donating on our website, mercurytheaterpodcast.com, or becoming a patron on patreon.com. If money is just too darn expensive to send it our way, but you still enjoyed this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes or wherever else you can. And telling a friend you think would enjoy short audio movies is a great share too. DEN is publishing this month, December 28th. As promised, here are the giveaway details. Email me at john@mercurytheaterpodcast.com with your name and you'll be entered to win a free Mercury Theater Podcast water bottle. That's all you have to do. Email me your name. Again, my email is john@mercurytheaterpodcast.com. Theater spelled the right way with an R-E. I will be drawing a name out of a literal hat for the March 29th episode. Once you have been notified of your winning via email, you will need to send your mailing address within 7 days, or else the winner will forfeit and the second name drawn will be given the winnings. Good luck. Until next time, I'm John Badger.